I'm going to address the issue on public safety. Asian and Pacific residents in San Francisco are often ranked public safety as their #1 concern in a number of polls. And for some of the emerging API communities, criminal activity and also racial tension has resulted in violence, even theft, and is causing our API family to live in fear in neighborhoods they live in. So for Joanna, as a mayor, how would you address the public safety issue in neighborhoods where there is a growing API population?
So first of all, it's very important that we have more foot patrols of police. If police are out in our communities more, they start to build relationships with people in the community. They start to build trust, so people will share information with them. And that presence is critically important. This is also where I go back to public education, though. We need to bring other resources to our schools so that kids are not leaving in the afternoon and have supportive resources all day, whether that's social work or mental health care or after-school programs. Because so many of the kids that are getting into trouble or creating violence in the streets is because they just don't have adequate resources and enough support, and it's critically important we do that.
So as a follow-up question, do you support community policing program or community courts?
I absolutely support community policing and community courts, and I think where the current system has fallen short is that if people don't appear in the community courts, there's no recourse. So if that is the avenue that someone chooses, I think it's critically important that there's some recourse, but I think it's a very strong program.
Thank you. Dennis Herrera, public safety is among the top priority, as I mentioned before, especially in the Southeast Corridor. So apart from police services, which is oftentimes reactive services, what proactive social services do you have in mind that will help the residents in the southeast part of the city?
Well, thank you, because I've been out there being proactive on public safety in the city attorney's office. I know I got some heat at the time for my gang injunction program, but it did reduce gang violence by 60% in the areas where I had that imposed. But I will say that the other thing is we need to make sure that we're creating opportunity. And the thing that I am most proud of is a lawsuit that I brought against the nation's largest Section 8 housing provider way back when. And when we settled that case, I used that as the very first seed money to establish the very first Boys and Girls Club in the Bayview Hunters Point, the Willie Mays Boys and Girls Club, which is now providing services for 150 kids that didn't have it before. And that is the kind of initiative that we have to make sure we are using in the mayor's office, using the power of the law, using what is at our disposal to create opportunity, programming, recreational opportunities, educational opportunities for folks, kids throughout San Francisco, not just in the southeast sector.
Thank you. And how would you, in collaboration with nonprofit agencies or other social service agencies, to provide proactive services to the residents?
Well, that's something that I think is incredibly important and part of the partnership that I built with the Boys and Girls Club. We built a community collaboration of private industry, city leaders, and a nonprofit to provide services for kids. But I believe that also, if you look at it, I did a task force report in 2010, a CBO reform task force recognizing the critical roles that CBOs play in the community and how we can have best practices from the city's perspective and CBOs to make sure that we are reaching the community and in these tough budgetary times being wise with taxpayer dollars, accruing savings without impacting the core delivery of services. And it's something that's going to be increasingly challenging in a time where there are decreased federal and state dollars available to us. And we need to be committed to step up at the local level.
Thank you.